Hey guys, in this video today, I'm going to be talking about the 3 key things to making a money-making headline. Let's go. So, one of the biggest and most important parts of any landing page is the headline. In fact, I've heard people quoted saying that 80% of a conversion rate happens at those first words at the top of your page, which is why it's so critical to get it right. In fact, you should spend the bulk of your time when you're coming up with a winning campaign or making a good marketing campaign within the headline. So I'm gonna share today the 3 things that I look for in any big money-making headline to make sure that they're there and walk through each one with some examples where it's not working to some examples where it is. So let's jump into the first one. The first most important one that is making sure that you have the right segment for your audience. You're targeting the right people. What do I mean by that? Oftentimes we might think about a benefit or we might think about a product, but we don't think about the person when they land on the page and making sure we're qualifying the right people. Let me share an example with you. So we could see on this headline for this page where you could highlight a product and it's saying that there's an ebook that does a certain thing. There's no qualification for who should care or why they should care about this product. For example, if you put something where you could say, hey, grandma in her 70s with this ebook is able to generate 7 figures in revenue or 10 figures in revenue monthly. Download today to find out how you could start doing it. That's a whole different experience for something that's bland. It's not qualifying anybody. I have to intuitively know what e-commerce business building might involve to jump into something like this. So if I don't understand any of this, I'm gonna bounce. I'm gonna jump away. I'm not gonna wanna do any of it. So that's really important to qualify and identify with the person right at the beginning. So to see a good example of how a headline will do this, if we look at the screen here, you can see how this 59-year-old grandma's near deadly battle with cancer and premature menopause led to a keto diet hack proven to melt 7 pounds every 7 days. You could see how much demographic information they're including in that headline to essentially capture and say, I'm the right audience. If I identify with any of this, that I'm in my 50s, I'm getting near my 50s, I might have had cancer, I might have menopause, and I'm looking to lose weight. There's lots of different qualifications to tell me that this is something that I need to read, and I need to start reading it now. So a couple things to step back and talk a little bit about that's really important with your headline and why it's so critical. It's your first impression to get people to read. Oftentimes people think that the goal of a headline is to sell somebody, but that's not the goal of a headline. The goal of the headline is to get them to read the next sentence. And in copywriting in general, you just need them to read the next sentence until they get to the close, and that's when you're gonna get them to buy. But everything is just a continuation. So don't feel like you need to sell somebody with your headline. You need to sell them on reading more and finding out more information, which is why it's so key to make sure you're qualifying the right people that are gonna read forward and buy the product eventually. The next big key that we're gonna talk about is making sure you have something that's interesting. So one of the biggest things that's interesting is you create some sort of very peculiar, curious situation, which we can even look at this one and continue to see. 59-year-old grandma that near deadly battle with cancer and premature menopause. So obviously someone that thinks that they're in crisis, maybe a lot of bad health, but guess what? They used some hack and they started losing 7 pounds every 7 days. Those are 2 very opposite things. Someone that sounds very unhealthy and old, I don't expect them to easily lose weight, but here they are easily losing weight. So when we see these very different things merged together in a headline, we can't help but want to read more. Another great example of this you could see in content. We see it in news articles all the time. For example, 8 strange things millionaires do with their money, but most of us have never tried. Well, gosh, I like to know what strange things millionaires might be doing. You put that strange there with a millionaire and you're definitely not trying it. Who's not going to want to read that article if they're looking for secret ways to make money? We could see where this doesn't work out very well when there's no curiosity. Something that's very bland, very specific. For example, with this headline, we can see a beginner's guide to learning the benefits of essential oils for overall health and well-being. This is classifying and qualifying that this is for beginners into essential oils, so it does that, but there's no curiosity play. It's just a beginner's guide. Anybody could Google this. There's no reason I even want to play that video, read the next line. There's nothing drawing me in. Beefing this up is saying something to the effect of how a dad of 4 found himself jumping into the essential oil business or changed his life, something that we kind of sounds crazy or weird is really gonna beef that up. So here's a bad example of doing that curiosity play. We could see that there's good segmentation with a beginner's guide to learning the benefits of essential oils, but there's nothing bringing me in. There's no interest. What's gonna really make me think, I've never heard that before? Framing something where you might be able to say how a mother of 5 kept her kids from going to the doctor using essential oils, and we have the simple guide to teach you the same thing. Already you could start saying like, well, dang, I have kids, I want to keep them from going to the doctor. Now I want to know how essential oils could play a role in that. Now, I also say, I don't know if that was a compliant one. You're going to want to make sure all these things go through some form of FTC compliance. But in general, you can see how that's a much more appealing headline to want to read more about and identify more with than just saying beginner's guide, which is just basically something you might enter into Google and not really find that interesting and compelling. The last and one of the biggest keys that a headline needs to do is it does need to tell you a little bit about what you're talking about or what you're getting. No one wants to land on the page and not understand what's even going on. For example, we have another headline here where it's, do you want to achieve everything in life? Well, a lot of people do want to achieve everything in life. Ultimately, I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't know what I'm reading. I don't know what's going to make me achieve that. It's too broad. It's too curious. It's too scammy. It doesn't seem like someone's telling you what's actually going on. It reminds me a lot of the situation where if anyone's ever been in an MLM interview before, they tell you about all the money that you're gonna make, but they don't actually tell you what you're selling, which makes people not trust you. They're not interested. There's nothing that's telling them that they need to continue forward, which is where this really misses. So when you're building your headlines, you wanna create curiosity, but you also want to show and tell them what they're gonna get, what they're actually going to get. So if we go back to something right here, we could see a perfect example of a working headline that has all those elements. A weird 8-pound solar device could save your life in a dangerous blackout. New, the #1 requested item for 2021, introductory stock extremely limited. So right off the bat, I could even see here that there's some sort of item that they're talking about. There's a physical thing that's going to generate energy. We could hear that because you see the dangerous blackouts. So we know it's telling me what it is, but there's a curiosity component. It's a weird 8-pound solar device. What is that? I want to find out what that is. So you can see how it's drawing me in. And also in terms of qualifying, there's a lot of qualifying going on around this headline. We could see up here, for patriots, that's qualifying people in terms of conservative, I'm a patriotic person, as well as just what it's talking about. Could save your life in a dangerous blackout. I know it sounds odd that that's qualifying, but that's qualifying people that are concerned and worried about what happens in a survival situation. I know I want those buyers. I'm identifying them in my headline. I'm giving them a curiosity thing that they want to hear about. And I'm telling them essentially there's a device in here that's 8 pounds and it's a solar device. So they know exactly what they're gonna listen to or find out about. They just don't know exactly what it is or why it's unique and so on and so forth. But I got enough curiosity to get them to watch the video, which is ultimately the goal of the headline. Just to recap today, guys, we covered the first thing you need to do on your headline is make sure that you're targeting or qualifying the right audience. Second, you need to make them interested and come up with something that's gonna get them to keep reading and be a little bit different or eye-catching. And then finally, you need to make sure that you're telling everyone what they're actually getting, what the product is, so they know what they're gonna buy. So once you have those 3 elements in there, you're gonna be on your way to that money-making headline that's gonna unlock the financial freedom that you're striving for. Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel so you can keep getting all the content that you need from ClickBank that's gonna start driving your business in a positive direction every single day. Have a good one.